What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? I'm gonna go ahead and just get right to it. I'm about to have a conversation with somebody who's actually in Tehran right now. Going to pick their brain about what is going on in their country and get their perspective of what's actually happening in Iran at the moment. You know, basically, trying to get away from all of this Western propaganda, right? I'm trying to figure out, how the people of Iran actually feel about what we're doing, and if they feel like we're actually helping, their people. So with that being said, we're gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna go ahead and join this live, and let's see how it goes. Hello, hello. How you doing, man?
Hello, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I appreciate you taking the
Sorry
time to
for
talk to me.
sorry for the delay. I got some problems with the connection and those stuff. This is a war situation and everything is possible here. So glad
Totally
that I did not
understandable.
miss it completely. So uh, thanks for everything. Let's get to the point. So first of all, is your name Aaron or something like that?
Yes, it's Aaron. Yes.
Aaron. Yes. So glad to see you. And you know my name. My name's Artin, and I'm currently here in the suburbs of Tehran. So glad to see you.
Of course. Nice to
And
meet you, man.
yeah, nice to meet you too. So I'm glad to have you here. Uh, let's talk about ourselves for a little, about our background and biography. So, for a better introduction. So, are you living in United States now?
Yes, I do. I live in Texas, actually.
Perfect. So, I'm in the suburbs of Tehran. I was in the downtown when the war started. I had to move away. Well, I just got to my parents' house for a
Yeah.
while, and we are even still close to the residential areas, but not in the dense populated area. It's a suburb. So
Right.
yeah.
I'm so
Uh,
sorry to hear that,
I
man.
got some questions. Yeah, yeah. No, we do know the difference between the American normal people and the government and the corrupt politicians. So we do not blame the people. And
Of
thanks for the
course.
sympathy. Basically, I got some about five or six questions, and I want to ask you them. So first of all,
Yeah.
what do you think about the reason of this war? As an American person, what made your country, or let's say your government, invade Iran? The main reasons.
Some of the main reasons for me personally, I I mean, looking at American history, I think that it has everything to do with just control of, maybe oil within the region. Definitely with our history of going to war with Iraq, going to war in Kuwait, right? Just to protect oil assets, the way that Iraqi oil funds still flow through the American financial system right now. And, they have to play ball just to get access to their oil money, and they tried to paint this whole picture here in America that the war was about freeing your people. That's what everybody
Yeah,
says. They're like, oh, we're freeing the Iranians. We're going to help them get, rid of this regime, right? And, from people that actually pay attention to what's going on, for the last 20 days, all they talk about is the Strait of Hormuz. They don't talk about the people who are dying. They don't talk about the thousands, 82,000 what plus buildings that have been destroyed, most of them being residential
yeah,
buildings. They don't talk about the thousands that have been killed, the millions that have been displaced. Our media doesn't cover that. So to me, it feels like either is oil or, trying to allow Israel to expand its territory and have more control of the region.
yeah. I understand. Thank you. So, do you think that the Israel or the Epstein files had something to do with this? Because a lot of people are saying that Trump wanted a big distraction from the Epstein files and the revealing. And
Yes.
basically, this is Israel war against Iran, and as you know, Israel is always trying to stick to a powerful source
Yeah.
because they don't have anything. If we just let Israel to fight in its own, it will get torn apart in less than a week, maybe.
Right.
So, what do you think about that? What do you think about those things, Epstein and Israel?
I 100% believe that it was connected. I mean, because I cover politics here in America, mainly. And, before the war started, we were getting really, really heavy into some big reveals within the Epstein files, right? They were currently doing a deposition with Hillary Clinton and then Bill Clinton. And what happened the next day after they were doing the Bill Clinton deposition? They went to war. So as things were starting to escalate, right, here in America, when we're starting to see all these big figures starting to get
Yeah.
called out, you see around the world elite figures starting to get called out. It seems to me like the administration wanted to get away from it, which they've done multiple times since last year. They've tried to pull away from the Epstein files so many times, and it keeps coming back to them. So I agree 100%. And then in reference to this is Israel's war, yes, 100%, because they're actively over there trying to, you know, get land grabs in Lebanon. They're actively, killing thousands of people within Palestine. They are, in my opinion, imperialists, and they're people, I mean, I feel like they lean towards fascism in a way where they're just so aligned to this idea that they're willing to see their people die if it means the end of your people, which is insane to me. Because I think as an American, I can differentiate that there's a difference between the civilians of Iran and the people who are a part of the government. Just like you said that you can see there's a difference between people like me and my government. But
Exactly.
people of Israel don't see that. They see you as the same as the government, which is crazy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly, because now they're hitting residential areas, and maybe many people who were just looking for the regime change, and they were so in love with the Trump, and they were asking Trump to invade Iran. Now they're getting killed. Like the Iranian diaspora. I'm sure you heard and seen them around. So, what do you think about those Iranians which are so basically happy because of the invasion?
So you do get a lot of that, right? You see that, and I don't know whether or not it's people that are actually truly happy that we're there, or if it's like Western propaganda. Like I don't know if it's people
I'm gonna
here.
explain it to you. I'm gonna explain it to you.
Yeah,
Do you want me to tell you now? Because
yeah,
yeah. Basically, because I was witnessing all of these things. I was born and I grew up in Iran, absolutely in all the ages of my time. So I just
yeah,
went into people and all those protests and those riots and those things. Basically, we had the confession of the Mike Pompeo on his X account, which was he was mentioning that Merry Christmas to all the brave Iranians on the streets and all the Mossad agents walking beside them. So he just confessed that Mossad agents are actively
yeah,
here. I didn't say that. Our authorities didn't say that. Mike Pompeo, the former prime minister, that was the Secretary of State or Foreign Affairs or something like this in the first government of the Trump, Mike Pompeo, and he was
wow,
managing CIA for some years. So he just said that, and we had there's an account. There's an account which is basically, uh, its name is Mossad in Persian,
mm-hmm,
and they said that in Persian, that people of Iran get out. This time we are not just we are this time we're supporting you not just by words, basically by action, and we are with you. So after we were protesting because we had economical problems in Iran.
right,
Basically, the things about the women rights and those things, they are just trying to use it as a propaganda. Here in Iran, it's not like in Afghanistan or on the Taliban territories. The women are free to wear whatever they want. I know about the last decade or last 2 decades, yeah, we had some extremists in the government that they were forcing and maybe putting some penalty for not wearing the things. But these days, normal people are wearing normal clothes.
right,
The kind of the modest fashion. Do not show your body parts. What about the hair? But if the officer sees them, they just maybe uh, suggest them politely to wear something. It's very far from the things that the propaganda is showing that they arrest them to do something. In the
right,
recent years, the culture has changed a lot. So the only thing which is bothering the people is economy and the reduction of our currency value these day by day. And the
right,
main reason of that, those economical problems is that the U.S. has sanctioned us. We are the most sanctioned country, even more than North Korea or Russia.
yes,
And it's about 47 years since the day one of the Islamic Revolution. So if Trump really wanted to help Iranians and Iranian people, so he had to lift the sanctions. And he did it. He didn't do that. He didn't do that.
right,
So sanctions put the people on the streets about 2 weeks. I was one of them because I had some needs as a young person in Iran. So I was asking for what the hell are you doing with our country? Our
yeah,
government, our president. We were on the street. Suddenly, after those messages were sent, I mean, on the X account and those things, I can remember. I can't. Yeah, I can't remember. I can't forget that night.
right,
I was with my friend. and the officers were somehow in front of us, and normal protests like the things that just happened yesterday in the United States. They were shouting, they were marching, they were showing some, I don't know, some texts and I don't know, some cardboards and those things. But suddenly, some people among the protesters started to shoot at the officers. You know, they were carrying guns, and as you know, most of over all types of guns are forbidden in Iran,
Mm.
and they had guns and they had some knives and some small swords and some things, and they started to blind hitting different people, and they were shooting the officers and normal protesters at the same time. One of my friends got hit in the leg by a big knife with no reason. A Molotov cocktail just hit beside my foot. Uh, we didn't know who were they were covering their faces, and they were just doing their best to make a normal protest to a chaos and a civil war, and that basically happened. For 2 nights, we had a civil war, and about 3,000 people got killed, which basically most of them were the officers and the security guards.
Really?
You know, police in Iran is totally different by the officers in the United States, like the ICE and those things. Iranian officers are afraid of using their guns.
Really?
Each year, many officers get killed, yeah, because they prefer to get shot instead of using their gun and go to court for them. The laws about controlling officers and controlling their firepower are so strict. And that night, our officers were not using any kind of hard guns, and most of that, those 3,000 people who got killed, about more than 2,000 of them were the security guards. Unbelievable. And you know, the people who wanted are asking for regime change. They were saying, why did the officers use gun at the second night? They say, oh, well, you wanted to take over the police station, so do you expect them to just stand and look at you? You're shooting them, so don't you give them the right to defend themselves? And
Right.
yeah, and which was, when I saw that night, I was just presuming that, oh my God, this is going to be a big excuse for invasion, like the same thing that happened in Libya, like the same thing
Yeah.
that happened in Iraq. That was kind of engineered because they needed to say something to the, I don't know, to the globe that, hey, we are going to bring them some democracy. The
Yeah.
same thing that they said about Afghanistan, the same thing they said about Iraq. And yeah, our problem is about economy, and I believe we can fix it together. You know, we've been sanctioned, we know some ways. We have to do work on it, and a lot of things. We have a lot of resources, but yeah, they made it a civil war, and a lot of innocent people got killed, and they just doubled the number, tripled the number. They've made 3,000, 4,000, 6,000, I don't know, 10,000, 30,000, 40,000,
Yeah. That's what I
with
was
no
gonna.
document.
Yeah.
And you know, exactly. And our government said that I'm going to reveal all the names and the last names and the IDs of those people, and the government did it. And they asked the media, which were just promoting the news that there were more than 40,000, and asked them, if you are telling the truth, so give me the info.
Right.
Give me the info. And they did not have anything to say. So yeah. And they just wanted to polarize our country into two groups. They wanted people who wanted regime change and they wanted people who wanted supporting. So if they invade, these two groups of Iranians started another civil war inside, which basically did not happen. You know, if Iran, let me tell you something, you can
Yeah.
understand it. If Iran was a real dictatorship, if Islamic Republic was a real, I don't know, terrible fascist regime, so why didn't the government collapse after they assassinated the leader and all four-star top generals, the secret, and they assassinated the Secretary of Defense, they assassinated the Secretary of Intelligence, they assassinated the Secretary of a lot of commanders, all of them. Half of them got killed in the 12-day war,
Yeah.
and the remaining, which were basically controlling all armed forces in Iran, from the police until the army, until the IRGC, all of them got killed at the first day. So we all know a dictatorship is all relying on its armed forces to control the people. So all of them just died at the very beginning of the war. So who kept the country? If all the people were 100% totally against his government, so why are they marching on the streets every night and shouting revenge, 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 and waving the
Right.
Iranian flag? So, but the propaganda is not showing that. The propaganda is not covering those news that everyone. The streets are crowded with the supporters of the government. So this is what really happening. And yeah, sorry for talking so much. I need to
No,
explain it.
no. Dude, yeah, man. You clarified so much for me that I've wondered myself because you say right now that it was more right. You think it was 3,000 that night that got killed? When over here in Western media, I get arguments with people in my content because I advocate for being against this war, right? Because I just don't feel like what we've done to your people over the course of the last 47 years has been right, right? I mean, because a lot of Americans only talk about Islamic Revolution. They don't actually talk about American involvement going back further, to 1953, with one of our first CIA operations actually overthrowing the Iranian
Yeah,
democratic, prime minister, right?
exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And they don't talk about that. They're just like, oh, well, this goes back 47 years. No, this goes back further, and there's a reason why there was hostilities. Like, y'all don't understand the context because they don't want to go back and look at the history. So I'm dealing with people all day that are ignorant to that, right? And then they're like, well, you're supporting a regime that killed 40,000 of its people. I'm like, I don't know if it's 40,000, dude. Like, that feels like a propaganda number, because I watch a lot of like more Al Jazeera news. So like the news that I'm watching, like it's painting it in a much different picture than the Western media over here, right? It doesn't. We
Exactly.
watch like Fox News, CNN, ABC, and it's just painting, the picture as if this is a horrible dictatorship, that y'all have no rights, that women are oppressed, that this is what y'all want, that this is like y'all have been begging for this. Like Trump makes it seem every day that y'all are like, in the streets parading for Trump right now. He's like, "Oh, they want me to
Yeah,
be their new leader." That's what he said 2 days ago. That's literally
yeah,
what
yeah,
he said. And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
come on, bro. Um, so I really appreciate you clarifying what happened that night and how many people you think
Yeah.
actually,
Thank you so much.
were killed, and having that first person account, dude, for even me, like I said, just it makes me feel like I'm actually on the right side here because people are constantly telling me, "Oh, you're on the wrong side." I'm like, "No, dude, you're on the wrong side." America right now is pursuing this war at um with horrible interest at mind. They're not there to help, your people
Yeah,
put a democratic government there. They didn't do it in Iraq. They didn't do it in Afghanistan. Why would they do it here?
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
and people just don't
And
really,
you
they
know,
don't
with
understand.
you can I think you can convince everybody with the logic that if Iran was a real dictatorship, so why the people did not collapse the country? Because the two atomic powers have had attacked it, and they were trying that the Iranian people were going to support you. So why did not uh, attack those things? If they did it for 2 nights in Iran, and if they were the real people, the majority, so why don't they do that? Which is basically much easier now. So
Right.
we just logically understand that yeah, there are lies about the Iranian people, and the Iranians inside are incomparable to the Iranians which are outside, living in the Europe or United States, and those are the kinds which are supporting the war because they cannot come back to Iran. Most of them have did some bad works and they're under arrest, so they don't want to. They can't get back to Iran because of this. They want to destroy to Iran so maybe one day they can get back. They have
Right.
files in some judiciary places and they are afraid of coming back. So they say, oh my God, destroy my country, make it again, and I'm going to get back. And we are trying to tell them that, hey, they did this with Iraq, they did this with Libya, so your country is not going to get great. You are going to lose even, we have safety, we have a lot of good systems here. Iran is
Yeah.
totally different by the things that the media is showing. Iran is not like Iraq or Afghanistan. A good subway system. We have public transportation system. We have the cheapest gas and energy somehow around the world. We have good universities, and you can see that in the arm and firepower, we are some hitting some high tech facilities of the U.S. Army. So we are not, I don't know, some uh, ancient, I don't know, old,
Yeah.
illiterate countries. But the media is trying to show Iran hell, a desert like the Saudi Arabia. The people are traveling with camel. We have no water to drink. They have nothing to do. Basically, I was an English teacher for some years, and I used to take my students to some school Johns, to the historical places of our city, and the students were talking about the things with foreign people, foreign tourists, face to face, because I was trying to teach them English, and they were just trying to use their English with some native speakers, and all of those tourists were shocked. Said when we were packing for coming to Iran, our relatives and friends were telling about, "Don't go, you're gonna get shot.
Yeah.
Iran is a terrorist nation," and those things. And now we're shocked because of the kindness of kindness of the people and the hospitality and those things. So yeah, the media is absolutely 100% on the opposite side, you know. So
Yeah,
you have to see
100%.
it by your eyes. So yeah, uh, that's it. Let me continue with another question. What do you think? How would the war go, and how would it finish?
I don't, man, that's a hard question because, Trump made this seem like it was going to be just a quick little operation. That he's been saying that it's been over for weeks, right? But every day there's more clear evidence that this is escalating. Yesterday we saw what Yemen now getting involved with the war,
Yeah,
you know. So that that could also like close off Bab el Mandeb, right? Not only Strait of the Hormuz will be affected. Now that could be 30% of the world's oil that gets affected, right? So this is now
exactly.
looking like it's escalating to a bigger problem that he didn't realize was going to turn. I think he underestimated Iran. I don't think that he expected Iran to attack, other states within the GCC and their power plants, even though analysts were telling him that's what they would do. And I think that
Yeah,
Trump thinks that your nation is a small nation that is like it's going to be as hard as Afghanistan or easy as Afghanistan, right? And I say, how is it easy? We were there for 20 years, and the people of Afghanistan are. If you look at the history and watch any documentaries of that war, we had to do a lot there. We had to help a lot there, and the people of Iran, I would say, are a little bit. I mean, you can tell me, would they be more educated than the people of Afghanistan, right? I mean, y'all seem
of
like a
course.
pretty modern society from my research, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's like
90% of our girls go to university.
yeah,
It's
I saw
unbelievable.
that. I saw that.
Yeah,
And that you can't say that about America. You
yeah, yeah,
can't,
yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, I go to school, right? I go to university here in America. There's no Americans. I go to school with a bunch of people from the Middle East and from India, right? I mean, they
Yeah,
come here to go to school, and it's like that's great and everything, but you don't see Americans going to school anymore. You don't see them getting educated anymore.
yeah,
So,
I understand.
I mean, they really propagandize it to this narrative that y'all are stuck back in this era where you're highly oppressed and y'all don't have these things. It's kind of like the way people think about Texas, where we're just riding around on horses right around everywhere, and
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
not a modern society. They say that about y'all with camels, and it's like that's completely ridiculous. And my biggest fear, man, is that this will turn into a Libya, right? I mean, we went and we killed Gaddafi, right? Who was going to unite Africa, who might have actually created a very stable currency that could have competed, if not overthrown, the
Exactly.
American dollar. And that was a threat, right? And I don't now it's a slave state. And it's like we can't have that happen in Iran. Like there's 92 to 93 million people, correct, in your country. That's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of people that we can't. I mean, and when we destabilize nations, when we do this kind of stuff, chaos just takes over, right? Or
Exactly.
somebody more radical rises, and it's like this was never about regime change, and I don't think it's about regime change still for Trump. I don't know what it is. He changes his direction daily. So I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
believe because
Huh?
they did not have any visible strategy from the very beginning. You know, they just jumped into it without any special purpose or goal, and
Right.
they do not know what to do. One day they say that we're gonna send our army boots on the ground. One day they say no, we are not going to do that. And basically no strategy. And because of this, I heard a lot of army officers are now criticizing Pete Hegseth because you know nothing about the war. You just watch some Hollywood movies. You were a Fox News, I don't know, reporter. So you
Right.
have nothing about the war, and you're just gonna get our soldiers killed for no reason.
Right.
And yeah,
He knows nothing about what he's talking about. I mean, compared to probably the people you're talking about who spent their life in the military, who spent their life, studying military strategy. You just got this guy going in
exactly,
guns a blazing. Now we're mad that no allies want to come to our rescue, right, or come and help us. Trump is literally
exactly,
saying that
exactly,
they should have came before the war. Well, you didn't tell anybody. You didn't let the world know because you knew the world would probably condemn it. That there was no evidence, right, of
exactly,
nuclear bombs being made, right? So I mean,
exactly.
I
Yeah.
they just make up excuses day by day. First, it was about the bombs, and then it's about freeing your people, and then it's about regime change, and then it's about reopening the Strait of Hormuz. And it's just like, dude, this
Exactly.
is very circular now because nothing's changed. And now, if anything, the world's oil supply is thrown in disarray. We got countries now that may not get oil. Gas is going up all over the world. So it just
Exactly,
feels
exactly.
pointless when we could have avoided this, especially because I was covering all this when they were having talks in Geneva. And then what happened right after that? What did the US go and do? They
Exactly.
literally showed up at the peace talks and then were like, "Yeah, we're still going to bomb you tonight." Like, come on, man.
Yeah, and they did that. They did that to us for twice. While they were at the table, the 12-day war, we were busy with negotiating. They just bombed us, and again they
Mm,
did that. So there's your. I think it's an American Indian. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, and something like that. So because of this, they are still asking for ceasefire, but our fathers are saying no. You did this once, you did this twice, so the third time, if you go for the
yeah,
ceasefire after 1 month or after 2 months, you're just gonna send more troops, send more facilities and aircrafts, and you're just gonna bomb it again, again and again and again. So we will get a war once in 6 months, or maybe once in 3 months, or once a year. So you're just gonna destroy our infrastructure and just gonna make our country slowly collapse by
right,
seizing our power and energy. So because of this, we have to show the world, not just the United States, and the whole globe, that you can start a war with Iran, but you are not the guy who's going to finish it. We're
right.
just going to punish you as much as we believe you need to be punished to just to get a guarantee. Because basically the U.S. government and Israel they have no red lines. They hit schools, they hit hospitals, if they negotiate, they're gonna backstab you. If they give you a guarantee, they're just gonna ditch it. And we had some talks. I'm sure we heard about the JCPOA. This was a
Mm,
complete negotiation. This was basically finished and culminated into something, such a contract, something like that. And Trump got out of it with no reason.
right,
And about a decade of our people, they were planning for this, and they were trying to just give them some services. A lot of most of our nuclear facilities got shot because of the ACPOA, and nothing. They just blew it up in one night. So we need a strong, real guarantee for our safety. And yeah, this is the basic need of each country. United States needs to learn to respect some other countries. Especially, it's not about the Middle East.
mm-hmm,
Trump talks about it like with the Canada, maybe
right.
Venezuela, Greenland. So this is not the globe will tolerate. And uh, mm, maybe he was success. And you know what he's doing in the Cuba even.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, completely. It's completely. We've never given Cuba a chance to try as a country. We've never given them
exactly.
the opportunity to succeed. We've sanctioned them and embargoed them since, Castro took over that country. So, and,
Yeah,
you could say the same with multiple different countries. And yeah, that's why I say the United States is not out here preserving democracy. We're out here preserving American capital and punishing anybody who doesn't play ball with it, right? Who doesn't
exactly,
give in to the American petrodollar or doesn't give in to what we want in our requests.
exactly.
But
I got
people
another
here,
question.
yeah, 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 go on.
Sorry for
No, you're
interruption.
good.
I just want to know, did this war have any special economical or cultural impact in your state, Texas? Because I heard about the gas price going up, and the people were saying, "Oh my God, gas is going up." Did it happen in
Yeah,
Texas?
yes, 100%. I mean, but before the start of the war, I think gas was around $2.35. Right now, it's 3.85. So we went up about a little over $1.50 almost now. So we've seen almost a fifty
For
percent increase.
for a gallon, yes.
Yes, per gallon.
Oh, yeah, that's too much for 20.
Yeah, it's a lot, especially
Right.
knowing that it's America produces already a lot of oil, right? We only get about 15% of
Mhm.
our oil through that strait. It's just American cap. It's because it runs on a global, supply chain, and when they see the
Exactly.
benchmark
Yeah.
of Brent crude going up, they're like, "Oh, let's rise the prices."
Exactly. Yeah. I heard something that the people were saying that why Iran is attacking Arabian countries and Arabic countries somehow. Around. What do you think about that? Because the United States has bases in all those countries. It has bases in Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Iraq, and some other countries. So, basically, do you agree that we started a war with those countries, or no? We're just hitting the places that are being used for attack.
No, I don't think that you started a war with those countries. I think that with America, with America knowing that they have superior aerial, like a superior air force, right? They're not even going on the ground. They're not giving you. How are you supposed to attack them if you don't go at their bases? So what? We're
I'm
just gonna
sorry,
allow.
I just lost you for a few.
Oh, you're
seconds.
good. Can you hear me? How about now? Oh, is it
Now it's
going out
okay, but
still?
I just lost you with your whole answer. I was saying, you think that we just are doing attack and invasion on those countries or just the bases?
I think that you're just doing it on the basis. That's my opinion. I mean, it's a retaliation attack towards countries that are aligned with American interests. How who else is Iran supposed to go at? They have to show America that they're not willing to just be hit over and over again. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think that Iran did anything to provoke war in the first place. And with America targeting, um, civilian infrastructure, fuel depots, energy infrastructure in Tehran, when they blew up that huge one and it caused like black rain in the sky, like. You're turning
Yeah,
the air into a chemical weapon. When you're doing that to a people, when you're affecting innocent lives, women, children, and elderly, right? People that have nothing to do with this war. When you're doing that, what do you expect a government to do? What would America do? If Iran was
exactly.
blowing up, let's be real. America went to war with Afghanistan and Iraq for two buildings, but we've blown up 80 something thousand buildings in Iran. And there's no outrage here in America. They'll say, oh, well, they scream death to America, so their country deserves it. And it's like, not everybody there agrees with that sentiment. And they're talking about politicians who constantly stab Iran in the back, right? That never give them the
Yeah,
chance. They never really tried to pursue diplomacy. Every single time they show you over and over again that they're being snakes in the grass, right? That they didn't really actually mean
right.
anything genuine. So for me, no, I don't think that them attacking others, like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, I see that as them showing, hey, we're not messing around right now. Like you may think that you're just gonna win, we're just gonna fold, we're just gonna let you bully us, but we're not gonna do that. We will send the entire GCC into disarray. We will completely destroy the energy infrastructure if you want to do this. They're showing, hey, we're not playing around. That Iran's not like a baby country, and I say that over and over again. That
Exactly.
Iran is not just some nobody country. That going to war with Iran would be hard, and America doesn't understand that.
Exactly. Yeah. So my questions are over now, so I'm ready to answer yours. Thanks for your answers. They were great. Thanks
Of
for
course.
everything.
Yeah, man. Of course. Like I said, I appreciate you just giving me some context and explaining everything. And I guess my first question would just be, how do you feel about America and what they're doing to your country at the moment?
I do believe, as I said, we do understand that the American people are uh, totally, we know the difference between the American people and the American government.
Right.
We understood that, and we believe that the money that should be your healthcare insurance or your free education funding on those things, they are becoming bombs and they're hitting us. They're hitting the people in Iran, they're hitting the people in the Gaza, hitting the people in Palestine or maybe Yemen, Iraq, and all those countries that they were just um, got invaded by the United States Army result. So we believe that, yeah, most of the American people, the people who are anti-war and the people who are just looking for a normal life status, are the victim of the war as well.
100%.
Although we are getting, I don't know, harm or hurts um, badly, but those people are losing their somehow tax for nothing. You pay tax for a better life condition in your country, but look what they're doing to your tax. They're donating them for a Zionist regime, which is basically has nothing to do except killing people. So
Right.
I believe that, and I believe that you're somehow such a hostage. The government, the corrupted politicians. We are talking about the Epstein class. Those corrupted politicians which do everything and they have no red lines and they are somehow the enemies of the god, because we were some documents that they were worshiping Baal, which is basically a demon, something like
Right.
Satan. So they are monsters and they kill children, they kill women, they just destroy everything about the nature. And I said they have no red lines to cross and to be afraid of. So yeah, I do believe that we are not the enemy of the United States. We are just the enemy of those types of politicians. Wherever they are operating, we are the enemy of those group, special group, not normal people.
100%. I appreciate you answering that, man. Thank you. Um, Another question that I have is that a lot of Americans, right, they'll paint your people as quote unquote terrorists. But in your opinion, do you feel like the American politicians are the terrorists here in this situation, committing the true attacks of terror?
Basically, yeah. Basically, I believe the terrorist groups are funded by some place, and I have a lot of confession from the American authorities and politicians that they were just confessing. For example, if you can remember Trump in one of his election speeches, he just said that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton funded unfounded ISIS, So
Yeah.
that was his confession. And what was the purpose of ISIS? ISIS was there, and ISIS was enemy of all the Middle Eastern countries except Israel. So that's
Hmm.
insane. The, ISIS was just shouting that, oh my God, we are Muslim, Allahu Akbar, we are Muslim. And they were just doing acts of terrorists around the world, except Israel, which is somehow basically the biggest enemy of the Muslims. So what's
Yeah.
wrong? That's something insane. And they were just trying to use some, because the number of the people becoming Muslim in the Europe and United States and some other countries like getting increased day by day. And because of this, they were afraid, so they just started propaganda, and they were saying, "Oh my God, Muslims are terrorists! Oh my God, Al Qaeda!" And we have another document that when the USSR, I mean the Soviet Union, invented Afghanistan,
Yeah.
United States started to make some special groups like Al Qaeda, because Bin Laden was not Afghan, he was Saudi Arabian. He took Bin Laden from Saudi Arabia, another country, and they connected him with the people and the Mujahideen in the Afghanistan, and they just gave them. There are some video clips which the CIA agents are talking to those Mujahideens from the Taliban face to face and telling them, "Oh my God, you're great, you're fighting the USSR, the Great Satan. So do this, do that,"
Yeah.
just as a retaliation for the Vietnam thing, because Vietnam was getting support by the Soviet Union. So
Yeah.
here was kind of retaliation. They are abusing. So, and those groups they were lizards when United States just started them, and now they became a dragon, and they were just about to fight US again. So they they made terrorists just to do their dirty action. Sometimes the United States cannot enter by its, I don't know, their soldiers' uniform, so they
Yeah.
prefer to get their work done by some ugly faced people uh, calling themselves Muslim. ISIS, ISIS number one enemy was Iran.
Right.
It was our country, and especially the IRGC, which is fighting United States now, that just uh, somehow we say eliminated ISIS. If you can remember General Qasem Soleimani, which was assassinated by Trump
Right.
about 6 years ago. So, and Joe Kent,
Yeah.
which resigned. So he just confessed that oh my God, we just killed a
Yeah.
guy who just destroyed ISIS. So that's it. And we're talking about a guy who his lovely wife got killed by ISIS. So his family was killed by ISIS, and he was confessing that the United States has nothing to do with Iran because Iran is not a terrorist country, and basically they are the biggest enemy of the terrorism around the board. But as I said, the propaganda, and I believe most of the time the terrorists are not wearing uh, ugly clothes. Most of them are in the three-piece suit with nice tie, like Pete Exit, like Marco Rubio, and they are
Right.
just acting that now we're trying to make and save the world, but no, they are doing the real terrorism.
Mm. Got you, man. Thank you for answering that question. Seriously. Um, I Another question I have, man, is do you feel like the people of Iran want America's help in this? Do you, because over here you have American propaganda where you see Iranians take to the streets, right, cheering for Trump and his war with Iran. How do the people of Iran feel
No,
about it?
that was a propaganda. As I said, they engineer some type of civil wars to just to polarize our country into two parts. Basically, there are some people in Iran that they were looking for regime change, and they were saying, "Oh my God, we have to fix our country. The mullahs regime has destroyed all of our resources. They are just wasting our money. So there's no wealth in Iran. So inflation is terrible, recession is terrible." Those words are true. We have economical deep problems, but most of them because of the sanctions. So are you asking the person who sanctioned you in all aspects, not militarily? Our sanctions are basically in all possible aspects, from exporting, from importing, from military stuff, from industrial stuff, even from the drugs and the medicine.
Right.
The medicine, there are some special drugs and medicine that we need for people inside of Iran, which are grappling with different kinds of, I don't know, illnesses and those things, and we cannot buy them because our banking system is under sanction. Our, I don't know, I'd say the Ministry of Healthcare is under the sanction, so we can do nothing. And a lot of people get killed every day. And one of the reasons that we got for nuclear power, just because that most of the cancer medicine are made because of the nuclear facilities and uranium, and they're using to build those things. And they're saying, "Oh my God, you want to make atomic bomb and those things." If we wanted atomic bomb, we could have made it. We have all the things that is needed for doing that. So if we wanted, we could. So we didn't want to have it because we
Yeah.
our authorities are against the mass construction weapons, but they just eliminated the guy who was the strongest opposing side for the atomic power, which was our former leader Ali Khamenei. He was stopping all the things in Iran from becoming from producing a nuclear bomb, and eliminated him. Maybe the next leader, I mean his son, which is currently the leader, maybe he has a different idea about his father, and he ordered us to build one. I don't know. We don't know about it. So it just
Yeah.
made the things worse. So forget about it. Yeah, I believe, yeah, this there some, especially after those 2 nights with 3,000 people got killed. A lot of people were saying they were just blaming the government and the regime that, oh my God, they killed those people, exactly like the Iranians, which are outside. And their somehow hybrid war worked. They made the people's mind busy that the biggest enemy is not outside, it is inside in Tehran. So they were so keen that another country like Israel and the United States attacks destroy this country so they can take the control and change the government and regime. But as at the first day which the war started, and they started by hitting a school in Minab and killing more than 160 little girls. They started to hit the kid hospital, I mean Gandhi hospital in Tehran, and they started to attack more than 300 different hospital and medical centers and 30 ambulances and more than, as you said, 80,000 residential buildings. Those people are now starting to understand, oh my God, there's no freedom under the boots of a foreign soldier. If our country got any special problem, we have to fix it. Why we, I mean the Iranians. We have to do
Right.
our best to make it. But asking and seeking for freedom and prosperity for another country which has obviously spoke about your resources. Trump has many times said that we are going for the oil. So are you deaf? Can't you hear that he's so honest in this case? I don't know,
Yeah.
but
He
he's a good
is.
liar. But he's always mentioning that we did it for Venezuela for the oil. We did it. We are going to do it for Iran for the resources again. So can't you believe that? Why should he come from miles away to your country, and why should he tolerate many casualties, getting his soldiers killed, her airplanes, I don't know, hit by the missiles and drones. So why is he jeopardizing everything here for your Middle Eastern people? Do you believe that he is the savior? Why should he come and help you?
Right.
So I don't know what do they think, but yeah, those two groups are somehow getting together again. The Iranians are going to get strict, and I don't know, united against the foreign enemy, and they just destroyed their former plans. They
Yeah.
were planning for civil war, and now they another enemy. And then this is what I call there's no strategy. They just want to destroy Iran at any
Yeah.
possible uh, movement. Yeah,
So much so that bro, that's what, yeah, I've been saying that on like my content, like that doing this to the people of Iran would just unite them. Even if they're divided, they're just going to be like,
yeah,
well, you know what? I'd rather stick to my government than get bombed by the United States and Israel. I'd rather deal with the
exactly,
government than losing my sons and my daughters or my mothers, or my fathers or my loved ones, my husband, my wife, right?
exactly,
Those are
exactly.
people still, right, are that are getting affected. And like, I just don't think some Americans like process that, right? That it's people that still are getting hurt. And most of the people that are getting hurt have nothing to do with the IRGC, right? It's civilians, little
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
kids,
yeah.
like you said. And what did America try to do? They denied that over and over again until they got called out. They tried to blame it
Exactly.
on the IRGC. So,
Yeah, exactly.
And like you said, when I cover the fact that they've blown up hundreds of hospitals and attacked ambulances and safe zones and attacked schools. We just attacked a university, I think, yesterday, right? Two universities were
Yeah,
attacked
yeah,
in
yeah.
Tehran. That's
More
war
about more
crimes.
than three of our biggest universities, top universities in Asia got hit by missiles. So why are they attacking those countries? Our industrial infrastructure, our steel corporations, our oil refiners, and those things are getting bombed. And they are still afraid of sabotaging them completely because they know that we hit them back. If you hit our oil infrastructures, we hit them back, not just in Israel, but basically all those oil related things in the Arabian countries, which the investors are American. So if we did not have these missiles and drones, they were so eager to make Iran a larger, worse Gaza. I'm sure they are so willing to do
Right.
that because we are their first enemy. And when they were bombing normal people in Gaza, they were saying, "Oh my God, we're just bombing Hamas, Hamas, Hamas." So
Mm-hmm.
is that 20,000 kids which were massacred in Gaza the members of the Hamas? How can an infant become a member of armed group? So we have the pictures. They just destroyed hospitals. They destroyed everything in Gaza, literally. Nothing is remaining there, and they will do it. They did it once, so they're gonna do it again in Iran. If we were uh, weak and if we act weak against them.
Right. Got you. Man, like I said, thank you for answering all these questions. It's so good to get like just the perspective of somebody who's in Iran to answer these questions for me because I've talked to some Iranians here in America, but they're just telling me that I'm against your people for saying what I'm saying, right? That I don't know what I'm talking about
No,
as a
no, no, no,
Westerner.
no. Those
So,
people outside there, we don't consider them even as Iranian, because uh, uh, an Iranian is a person which has dedicated and sacrificed many parts of his life for his country. They are not patriots. Maybe their blood, their race, or their ethnicity is related to Iran, but they don't have identity. They don't have and they don't know anything of no. Most of them are illiterate people. They know nothing about the history, the
mm,
basic things. We're not talking about the ancient empire of Iran. We're talking about the last century.
right.
What happened to the kings before Islam? Who just dismissed the kings and kicked them out of the soil? The former Shah was exiled by the Iranian people. A revolution happened. His father was kicked out by the Britain army. So how can a king be kicked out just in a day by another army? So do you call it power? Do you call that king the savior of Iran? His army collapsed in 3 days in World War II while he was neutral in that war. And
Yep.
now our army, with no leader, with no commander, with nothing, by about half of a century sanction, is fighting the two superpowers in the world, top first and the second air forces in the world, and we are still fighting, and we did not collapse. So, which one is more powerful? Which one is truly talking about the Iran? Those people, those Iranians outside, they call the Iranians which are inside. Oh my God, you are Muslim. We hate Islam. So you are just worshiping Arabs and those things. But who's hitting Arabs now?
You're
So
right. Right.
there are a lot of things to
100%.
say.
There are a lot, man. Yeah, it's a really touchy subject. There's so many things to talk about, right? And then
Uh,
I really have like two more questions. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know it's getting late in your area. Um, but
no,
you asked me earlier how you think that a war would go if we continued this. How would you feel if America was, because as they're talking about it, they are. How would you think boots on the ground would go? Do you feel like that would be a folly on America's part? Do you think that we're highly underestimating the capabilities of Iran if we pursued a ground invasion?
exactly. Our somehow our weakness is our air force, and now you're seeing the combat of the air forces, and I believe our winning card is the ground invasion. As the foreign the somehow the Abbas Araghchi, the Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Iranian Secretary of Foreign Affairs, said that we are waiting for these boots on the ground. We're waiting for the invasion. Iran
Right.
was being prepared for that. We were expecting this war to happen. We did not know the exact time, but based on the United States temper and behavior, and Israel, of course, we were saying that we're gonna be next. So They attacked Iraq. We were witnessing their strategies, how they got Iraq. Iraq is on our west, and Afghanistan is on our east. So we witnessed those two invasions by as close as possible. We know the strategies, we know the equipment, we know the weaknesses. We fought them somehow in the Syria. We know everything about them. So, and I believe our troops are waiting for them because I believe the U.S. soldiers, which are just going to get to the borders and those things, gonna get slaughtered. And I'm feeling sad for those people because they are not getting killed for a normal reason. They are not even getting killed for their own country. They're getting killed for the Netanyahu and
Right.
some Zionist Israeli people. So they are not even defending the U.S. interest. that's
Right.
that's a pity, you know. That's
Agreed.
something that needs to be explained. And I believe, yeah, Iran has been preparing for this for I think about since the very beginning days of the Iran and Iraq war. So we fought Iraq army for 8 years. We fought ISIS in the Syria, and our ground troops are so sophisticated. And yeah, I believe it will happen. They will start to do that, and they're gonna get some mm, enormous casualties. And I don't know what happens then. Are they going to nuke Iran maybe because they did that with Japan? So if they get because as I said, they have no red lines,
Right.
and they're gonna do whatever. But the people of Iran are basically somehow the bravest people around the world. Not every night the people are marching outside from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. shouting for revenge. They just donating coffee and tea and these things, and they gather together. And we, men and women, they wave the flags. All of them are sticking posters and stickers of Persian flag to their cars, and they are asking to the uh, the invaders to be punished. So you cannot defeat those countries. And while they are hearing the sound of the jets flying above their head, and some places getting bombed, they're still on the street shouting and death to Israel and those things. And by the slogan that the people usually in Iran say death to the United States or death to Israel, we mean those corrupted politicians. I mean exactly the Epstein class. As I have to mention it again, we are not talking about the normal people. We're talking about the people who just wanna abuse other countries.
Right.
Because the elites or those special branch of bowling politicians. So the people, no, we have no, I don't know, bad feeling with the normal people of any
Right.
place. So yeah, that's it. And I believe this war will go, go, go. And I believe whatever happens, Iran is winning because Iran is defending its own soil. And as long as we don't lose our soil or our interests or our any of the things that are related to Iran, we've just won because we defended 100%.
100%, man. I'm gonna have to agree with you on there. From all the I mean, the research that I've been doing, Iran has been preparing for like a David Goliath kind of situation. I mean, you'd have to be kind of dumb to not see America's aggression, right, and not prepare, right, to start getting ready for
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So I 100% agree
exactly.
with you, and that yes, people are gonna go and die for an unjust cause for something that makes no sense. And I just, in my opinion, from the people I've talked to, from getting your opinion, I don't think the Iranian people would stand down as easily as the Americans are making it seem. That this is going to be one of our biggest embarrassments in history. It's going to be another. If he continues down this route, it's going to be another Vietnam, right? Another
Yeah,
Afghanistan, another failed war. I mean, Americans, they're like over here, they're like, oh, saying you don't understand military power, idiot. Like, oh, you don't understand the power of America. Well, why did we spend 20 years in Afghanistan with all of our military power? Just because we're strong militarily
exactly.
does not mean that we don't struggle. And I don't think people understand the geography of Iran, but it's not
Yeah,
easy to invade. So these
yeah,
people over here, I mean, there are some arrogant ones and ignorant ones, but I hope that maybe these kind of conversations show that there are Americans over here that see past the propaganda and try to at least spread the
exactly.
message to the other American people that hey, like our government's
Yeah,
lying to
yeah,
us. So
exactly. Yeah,
and then you said
yeah.
that
I
this is a
understand doing that.
and then you were saying you think this is about this is Netanyahu's wars. And my last question for you is, what is your opinion of Israel?
I believe Israel is, basically. I do believe that there's no country called Israel. They just occupied some territories from Palestinian people. If you look back to the history,
Yep.
they were just the invaders, and they were just insisting that, oh my God, this land was promised to us about 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. Oh, who the hell are you? You were living for many years in some other countries. You just jump out of the sky and you think that all the lands are yours. And so, what are you doing in Lebanon? What are you doing in the Syria? I mean, the Golan Heights or Golan Heights, what we'll call it. So, why are you just trying? Why did you invade Yemen? Why did you invade? I don't know, Iran. So, if you just believe that that piece of land is yours, why are you killing the Palestinians every year? So,
Right.
what's the matter? No, they just had established this fake country for about maybe about 80 years. Our leader, which got assassinated, was much older. He was about 86 years. So a person, an Iranian normal person, average person, is much older than your country, and do you call it a country? And are you
Mm.
trying to jeopardize the existence of this empire? Iran has been staying here about 3,000 centuries, more than, I'm sorry, 3,000 years,
Right.
Basically, it's something that propaganda is trying to hide. Persian Empire is how much older than the Egyptian Empire and the Roman Empire. And we were here. We fought Roman Empire. We fought the Greeks. We fought even Arabs. We fought the Mongolians, which were so ruthless. And as you said, because of our geography, we were here, and even our language did not change. When the Arabs attacked those countries like Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, now they're all speaking Arabian, but we are not speaking Arabic.
Right.
So we kept our culture, but of course became Muslim, and we chose Islam, but our own taste, because we could become Christian, we could become, I don't know, the followers of the Mongolism, I don't know, Mongolian religion, but we chose to become Muslim because we thought Islam is better and the best religion. So we know even the greatest empires of the world did not overcome Iran. So how do you dare to attack our country? And I believe Israel is like a cancer. I have to mention that I have some Jewish people. I know some Jewish people here in Iran, and if you don't know, I have to mention that the biggest colony of the Jewish people in the Middle East is Iran. I mean, first is Israel, and the second is Iran. The country which a lot of
Really.
people are trying to tag it anti-Semitic country, but no, we have a lot of people from ancient times. We have a lot of Christian people in Iran living happily together. And I just got my jacket. I just bought this jacket from a Jewish boutique. I know him.
Right.
And yeah, he wears kippah in the public, and there's no problem. We have a lot of, but we do understand the difference between Zionism and Judaism. We have no problem with the Jewish people. We are like brothers. Muslims, Christians, and Jewish, they are like brothers. No difference. They're all are prophet-related religions. We believe in
Exactly.
Jesus as a Muslim, and we believe uh, in the other prophets. But Zionism is something different. They do not worship God. Zionism is exactly the thing that is trying to, I don't know if I want to tell you, it's Bibi Netanyahu. Yeah, there are
Yeah.
some vampires in a three-piece suit acting like we are fan of democracy, but no, they just kill and kill and kill and kill, and nothing matters for them. So Zionism must be vanished. As long as we have Zionism in this world, we have wars, not just in the Middle East, around the world. We have terrible banking account. We have pressure on the global economy, and because they are controlling the banks and those other things. Uh, so I believe, yeah, they must be wiped out of the map, and they must just stop on those antagonizing actions. Yeah,
Thank you so much. Like I said, yeah, man, I agree with the Zionism, man, is what's causing so much chaos and so much evil right now because they paint it as if Christians, Jewish people, and Islam can't get together, right? Like we can't unify. That we can't. They make it seem like Christians are persecuted in Iran, and you're saying that
yeah, yeah.
Christians are they pretty free to practice around there?
Of course, they're free. We have a lot of colonies of the Christian people. We have some old, great, beautiful churches here, and the people visit that every day. We have a lot of Christians here, and I'm sure you saw The pictures. One of the biggest subway stations in Tehran is called the Saint Mary Station. That subway station is designed like a church with the statue of the Jesus and the Saint Mary and a lot of beautiful things. And you know why that subway station is called the Saint Mary? Because it's exactly in front of the biggest church in the Tehran,
Hmm.
and there are some historical places. We are not talking about the new church. We're talking about a church which basically is older than 5 centuries.
Right.
And in Isfahan, about 400 years ago, in the Safavi era, I don't know what's called Safavi in English. That was the time of some kings in Iran. Uh, they signed a contract, and in Isfahan, we have a mosque built like a church, and we have a church built like a mosque. And
Yeah.
that's so fun. It's
That is
we are
awesome.
talking about 4 centuries ago. We're talking about. I can remember the first time that I saw the church. I saw, we call it something. The mosques have something like a circle on the top. You
Yeah.
know, most of the. And I saw something like that with a cross on it, and I asked my friend, "Oh my God, what is that?" He said it's a church an Islamic design. And when we went for a few streets over there, we saw a mosque and the design of a church, and they're showing that from the very, very, very beginning, we had no problem with all those religions. As I said, the only problem is the Zionism, which is not our problem; it's the world problem. And Iran is fighting
100%.
on the behalf of humanity. That's Iran.
Well, it's yeah, I agree, man. I agree. I mean, dude, stuff like that sounds beautiful, man. I would love to see stuff like that one day. That sounds amazing. I mean, there's so much culture and so much history in your country, and Americans are so ignorant to that with our 250 years, right? Well, you have thousands of years of history, man.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
it's insane, dude. And I mean, a lot of Christians don't realize that, we have a lot in common with the Muslim faith. I mean, isn't he Jesus?
Exactly. Isa is Jesus, and you cannot be a Muslim if you don't believe in Isa.
Exactly. And Christians don't even understand that.
And we have something very something much more beautiful in Islam. We believe that Jesus was not killed and he just flew to the sky, and he will get back
Right.
with our 12th Imam. Our 12th Imam is uh, getting back to the world, to control the world by Jesus. So, our
Yeah.
religion are so close, and we believe that a miracle happened in that time, and Jesus just got to the sky. I don't know, and
Yeah.
the person who betrayed Jesus, I don't know his name. The God did a miracle, and his face become like Jesus, and they got him as Jesus, and they killed him. And if you read the historical books, he was shouting, "I'm not Jesus! I'm not Jesus!" So why do you think I'm Jesus? And the people say, "Your face is like Jesus." Like, no, uh, give me a
Mm.
mirror, give me something, and yeah, that's the greatest miracle that we have for Jesus. But they're censoring that, and
Wow.
we do respect Jesus as a holy guy.
I didn't even know that, man. That's actually like
And,
really
and
interesting.
a lot of people in Iran, I have to tell you, a lot of people in Iran are named Isa. I have some
Really?
relatives.
No
Exactly.
way.
My
That is
cousin's cousin
insane.
name is Isa. And we have the name Masih too, which is basically Mashiach in Hebrew, and it means
Yeah.
the Savior. So Isa Masih, Jesus Christ somehow. And we have both names in Persian and in some other Arabic countries, both. And this is the propagandas stopping the world because, if we did not have access to the Instagram and these internet and these facilities, even we could not hear it. You could not hear it for more for after some decades because the
Right.
mainstream media never promotes something like that. And
No.
I'm wishing one day to have a good, I don't know, big maybe Instagram page or YouTube channel to explain it to people outside of our borders because nobody's talking about that.
Exactly. Mainstream media doesn't cover it. It's up to small time creators now to actually get the truth out there and explain what's going on. Let's get past the propaganda. Let's have conversations with each other and actually let's come to common ground, right? And that's what, like you
Exactly. Yeah,
said, this
yeah, yeah.
technology is beautiful that we can do this kind of stuff because we weren't able to do
Of
this years
course.
ago.
It's a great opportunity, I believe. It's a great, wonderful opportunity. And we have to use the
Definitely.
most of it.
Definitely, man.
Because
Well,
these kinds of, I'm not talking, I don't want to say I'm knowledgeable. No, I know nothing. I'm not a normal guy. But these words are rare because normal people and a lot of people are just busy with the porn sites. They're busy for drinking, using drugs. They do not read books anymore. People don't have time and they are not in the mood for studying and talking about the history, talking about the music, talking about the art. These things have become rare because of the lifestyle has gotten so goddamn horrible. And the people are just thinking about their belly and their sexual needs,
Yeah,
and they pay no attention to the things that make the life beautiful. And because of these kinds of words are rare and hard to find.
I very much agree with you, man. It's a society riddled with sadly degeneracy that where they give into their vices and nobody wants to actually sit down and have a real conversation. Like you said, nobody reads anymore. I have to read. We have to read books. We have to keep educating ourselves. You never stop
Exactly.
learning, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, these are
And then
real. These are
basically,
very
I
real.
I know these things. Exactly. I know these things because when I was a teenager, I'm just 24, by the way. Maybe my face looks more older. I look more masculine, but I'm just 24. And
Gotcha.
you
I'm
know,
29.
uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I believe that I forgot what I was saying. Yeah. When I was a teenager, I just said, "Oh my God, Islam is bullshit," because I was the victim of the propaganda. I was, "Oh my God, our country is a terrible country. Nothing is good here. I just want to immigrate to some country with talking with some white people. I want to go to United States. I'm learning English
Right.
to go." And this is the mindset of our diaspora. And they are not proud of their identity. They believe that you are good as long as you copy European people. They are not thinking about their identity as an individual person. They hate black people, they hate I don't know Asian people, they hate even themselves.
Yeah.
They hate their religion. So I was thinking like that because I was the victim of the propaganda. So in that moment, a lot of question marks got in my mind and said, "Oh my God, I have to find the answer." So I started to read a lot of books. I even read a lot about the Western culture. So I understood and said, "Oh my God, yeah, these are the real things. Islam is something good." I didn't used to pray when I was just, I don't know, uh, 15 or 16 or 17. And then I started to pray, said,
Right.
"Oh my God." So it looks like I got Muslim again, because I learned, that was not something inherited by me, by my parents, or forced me to do that. That was something normal. I understood the reality, so I chose it. And because of this, I know it. And many people here just copy, they
Yeah.
don't search for the beliefs, they don't search for their history. So, yeah, a lot of words to say.
You have that over here as well with Christianity, man. You have a lot of people that say they follow the faith, but then it's like, oh, well, you support so many horrendous things that like are like that America does, right? That are not Christian by faith, right? A lot of them don't even
Yeah,
know how to follow the words of Jesus, right? So you definitely have a lot of people that are just bred to believe something. They don't actually sit down and study and get to the root of what that means. Like, what does this faith mean? What does it mean to be a Christian? What does it mean to be Islam, right? So, that's awesome, man. That's really beautiful because you don't see a lot of people that take the time to learn themselves.
of course. And as I said, I know nothing, as long as I read more and say, "Oh my God, I know nothing. I have to study more and more, more, more." So that's with minimum knowledge, you can understand these massive things and you can understand the things that are happening around the world. But many people even don't bother themselves to study this
Right.
little. Yeah. I'm so glad to find you because finding a person who can understand and have the same aspect and I don't know the point of view is so hard. And I do love talking with you and I'm really enjoying our conversation. Sorry that I took your time so much, but that was
No,
so
man.
sweet for
No,
me.
I enjoyed this conversation too, man. Like seriously, like I mean, if you ever want to talk again too, we can definitely talk again. I mean, like I said, I love having these kinds of conversations and getting the perspective of other people.
Of course. Yeah, it's the same way for me, and I think this war made us to get close, so we can keep in touch even after the war. Forget about whatever happens. We can just work on our network globally and try to send this message that, oh my God, this is the real Islam, this is the real Christianity, and maybe we can do some good works about the media to break the censorship and to break the boycott, which some big medias are trying to put on these types of words. I believe we can do good works, big works by this friendship, which has just basically started from today.
I agree, man. 100%. Look, I mean, look at that. Like, we got to show people, that even with our countries going through what they're going through, people like me and you can still talk and show that, hey,
Exactly.
we can build our relationship up here, and this can actually be a turning point for maybe our
Exactly.
countries. So yes, man, I agree,
Exactly. Yeah.
man. These are so important. Thank you for talking today, man.
No, no, I have to thank you because of everything, because of the time and those things. That was my pleasure, and I'm so honored to know you. And yeah,
Me
we
as
will keep
well,
in
man.
touch.
Of course, man. Please do. I mean, seriously, I'll give you a follow and everything if I didn't, man. We definitely need to keep in touch, especially as things escalate and if things keep getting worse. I think our conversations could be very, very good for people to see on social media.
Of course, of course. I'm gonna upload it and I'm gonna put it on my page. I have a friend which is doing the edits and those things, so I'm gonna give him the beats and I'm gonna put that. You can use if I don't know whether you recorded this or not, but you can use my face and everything. That's no problem.
Yeah,
And
me too. Yeah.
I have a personal account which is a small account. I just there's people I know, my friends. I give you
Right.
the ID, and we can get ourselves followed there because this account was so crowded. It's hard to yeah, it's better to switch that account. Yeah, that was a sweet conversation. Take care of yourself, and I wish you the best.
You as well,
Your
man. Thank you so much, man. You have a great day.
yeah,
Thank
you
you,
too.
Ari.
Goodbye. Take care.
Of course. Yes. All right, everybody. Oh, crap. I'm messing my screens. All right, everybody. I appreciate y'all tuning in for the stream. I hope that that was an interesting perspective with somebody that's actually inside of Iran right now. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. I'm going to go ahead and upload it up to the YouTube right now after I'm done hitting the stream. But yeah, man, like I said, worked really late last night, had a lot going on. I really have been grinding. And just to get to this to this interview, was kind of a logistical issue already in itself, especially with the time difference being about 8.5, 9.5 hours off. You know, we really worked this out over the last couple of days to get this going, and I really just I hope that this was a valuable insight to anybody that's watching. We will make sure to clip it. We're gonna get it out to the people. Appreciate y'all hanging out today. And until next time, this was ARISPE on America. I'll catch y'all later.